Good morning. Happy Wednesday. So, today, as you could tell from the title, is the first day of the Emotional Self Regulation and Non Dualism Consciousness Challenge. So, I'm really excited to kick this off. For those of you who are joining and perhaps have never heard of it, definitely do not blame yourself. It is not your fault. I'm going to do the next one more formally, but this one is going to be for those of you who are just coming on my profile, who are just returning back and want to get a better idea of how you could get started with being aware of what already exists, really, and just getting more aware of the law of assumption and non-dualism principles. And I'm going to be repeating myself because for those of you who are new to my page or my channel, my name is Tanika. I am a self-concept, mindset, and manifestation coach that likes to teach the law of assumption and non-dualism consciousness principles. So I do want to share a few notes with you all today, because today we're actually going to be talking about the most challenging aspect of emotional self-regulation, in my opinion, and what I've heard, and just based off of my personal experiences. When you are in dysregulation, and I'm channeling because I don't really have much notes that I'm looking back on, but if you are wanting to get closer to your emotional self regulation and you find yourself in this pattern, I feel like the pattern is the best way it's a sure way to tell that you are in any sort of dysregulation. Because if you are noticing that you continue to experience this endless old cycle and old belief system, and you are actually experiencing the blocking of what it is that you want to experience, or the opposite of what you want to experience, it is because you are in dysregulation. So a lot of you may not be aware that you are in dysregulation. This is why it's important that when you are materializing, when you are manifesting, that you manifest from a space of being regulated in your emotion and relaxed in your nervous system and your subconscious mind. It is imperative, like it's so important to make sure that you are in a space where you can broaden your, let's say, emotional capacity in your body, your nervous system and your subconscious mind. Because what you're wanting is at a slightly higher capacity, and this is just speaking from not emotional, but like an energetic level that says that you are unable to receive what it is that you want to experience, right? And so when your subconscious mind receives that this is something that is either just unattainable, you might experience this as imposter syndrome. You might experience this as like fatigue and exhaustion. You might experience this as overthinking and overanalyzing, and always in your logical brain trying to figure out what the next step is, why this thing isn't working, questioning, doubting, and all of the other really fun limitations that you experience here in emotional form and in physical form. So a lot of this, and I want to get to the root causes, and I'm already speaking about the root cause here, but maybe if I were to sort of explain this in a slightly different way, is that when you are experiencing this very thing, right, this limitation, this resistance even of really not being able to let go and not knowing how to let go, that's also a two-part series to this live, is that even though you might not be consciously aware of being dysregulated, you are also not fully skilled enough, or just like knowledgeable enough on how to effectively release your false belief and your limitation. So you want to start back at square one, where as you are breathing, you are making that the thing that also allows you to release your limitation and your false belief and whatever is appearing real for you, right? Because whatever is appearing real for you, especially if it's a limitation, especially if it's an illusion, which is your false belief materializing as real, even though it feels very real and very rigid and very hard, just know that you have everything that you need in order to shift the way that you are believing and thinking and feeling and experiencing. And the moment you tap into being more aware of that in itself, the easier you will be able to release what is no longer serving you and release the fact that you are in separation from your desire. So this is all going to be encumbersome of being aware. But what you also need to understand is that there are certain parts of you, especially again, if you are experiencing the old cycle, your old thought patterns, your old belief system, and you're seeing that there is a disconnect between what it is that you want and what it is that you're actually experiencing. Take a step back to really start to become aware of the things that you are not currently aware of, right? Because it is through the unseen, through the things that you do not see, that you actually have what it is that you want. Okay. So this is all going to benefit your awareness. And then the more and more you get effective in increasing that awareness through a series of breath work and meditation and sitting with yourself and sitting with your affirmations, whether that be telling yourself and or forgiving yourself. It could be multiple things. And this is why if you have any sort of, again, recognition to an opposition or a limitation that you speak to me, especially if you are wanting to do this challenge on your own, or, use my assistance to really get what it is that you want to experience, you really need to get very clear on what it is that is holding you back, right? Even if it's a general statement, that is okay. It's okay to say, you know what, I have self-worthiness issues and you want to work through that, or I want to work through that. It is okay to say that, this is of course impacting all aspects of my life, because it doesn't just impact you emotionally or physically, it also impacts you financially and spiritually, right? And so when you are, again, faced with this limitation, it's almost like all aspects of your life is now altered, because you are not recognizing this very thing, that you are not only a physical version of yourself. You are so much more than just your physical self, right? This is why I wanted to get into non-dualism training and non-dualism consciousness coaching, because if you knew exactly what you were, if you knew that you were both formed and formless consciousness and just energy, right? And knowing that energy is free flowing, and it is the type of it's really a completely different world. Like, it's not even in this reality, right? It's not even in 3D. Like, when you start to recognize that you are source, that you are this energy, you are both form and formless, that you could start to move more freely into higher vibrational forms of consciousness, and also be able to be grounded in what it is that you know that you have, right? So I do want to talk about this interdimensionally, because it's also a perspective that you can also adopt when you are working through releasing some of your dysregulation and false belief. You want to start to get anchored in working through what it is that is holding you back, of course, but also affirming to yourself and reminding yourself through a series of repetition. And this could be paired with your breath work. And of course, I'll leave any, I'll probably, like, if you're interested in the links, let me know. But before I lose my train of thought, I do want to pick up on affirming the exact thing that you want to experience, even though this is like completely separate from what it is that you are currently experiencing. You want to get very clear on what it is that you are going through, and of course what is holding you back. Of course, that could be related to worthiness, that could be related to neglect, it could be related to abandonment, it could be related to just overall not having that structure of knowing, again, like having a sense of who you are. But I feel like if you are here and you're following me, and you know the law of assumption, and you know that you are the operant power, and you know that there is a non-physical aspect of you that creates your reality, this is definitely a space for you, right? And so there is a lot less you have to work through, especially if you are aware of the law of assumption, because not everybody is going to resonate with this. Not everybody is going to be able to tap into this energy, right? So just know that you are beyond, like, light years ahead, because you are simply just aware of this information, right? That you are aware that you can shift and transmute and sort of like alchemize your experience. So this is all metaphysical that I'm talking about, right? Like this is the real truth and the beginning of you restructuring how you are self actualizing and how you are self recognizing. So you want to start to get really specific again about what it is that is potentially holding you back. And you'll know when you are thinking about it that all of these other, floods of emotions and thoughts, and they might sound intrusive. They might sound like they are, again, holding you back, and they might feel very, again, dense. They feel very rigid and very, like, you feel very stuck in this very, experience that you're experiencing, in this reality that you're experiencing. But also in the same breath, you are at the same time, again, experiencing exactly what it is that you want. And so this is why it might not make sense to you that you are also experiencing what it is that you want, because you are not anywhere near the let's say the being state of having what it is that you experience, that you want to experience, because of all of the denser energies that are in your energy and in your body and in your space. So you want to get very specific again. So you want to get clear about what is holding you back, right? And the more you sit with yourself, the more that you gravitate toward what grounds you and how you are actually listening to yourself. You really do want to pay attention to your inner self dialogue, so that you can start to move more freely into the space of, yes, I am relaxed. Yes, I am pure state consciousness or pure consciousness. I am the operant power, whatever you want to really ground yourself in, right? I like to say that, like, I've sort of moved past any sort of affirmations. I still do affirmations. My series of affirmations are a little bit different. Of course, I also do affirmations, like, why does everything get to work out for me? Why am I so easily able to release and receive? Why am I so easily able to ground myself in my knowing? So you could do any sort of technique that will allow you to anchor deeper into your groundedness, into your stability, your safety, your regulation. And this would probably be a really good affirmation to use is, I am safe, I am secure, and I am stable, right? And that's really what I walk you through in the Emotional Self-Regulation Accelerator. So if you are interested in hearing more about that accelerator, definitely let me know. But moving on, because I want to just share some of the meditations that have really worked out for me. And I want to share it because for those of you who are just starting out, I definitely want to share with you on multiple levels how you can actually start to acquire this emotional self-regulation. So it really hits multiple areas, and recognizing that you are going to be going through major shifts in lifetime from the moment that you sit yourself down and you are recognizing that you are beyond this physical body, that you are beyond this reality, is going to allow you to again move more freely into these higher realms and these higher states of consciousness. So even if this does not register, even if you are just at the stage where you know that there's something holding you back and you're not completely aware of what it might be, your subconscious mind knows what it is, but because your subconscious mind is not trained to coordinate, or let's say communicate effectively with your conscious mind, you're going to continue to get the split identities, the wanting energy, the doing energy, and you're going to continue to repeat the cycle of only experiencing what it is that you do not want because you are operating from a place of not having what it is that you want, right? Because if you have what it is that you want, you're not operating from a space or a place of survival or fight or flight or doing or logical mind thinking. You are purely just operating from a space of already having. You are purely receiving all the things that you want to experience because you are affirming and you are inner dialogue experiencing the very things that you would be thinking, believing, seeing, feeling as if you already had it, right? So a lot of you that are here, just know that through, again, a series of breath work and slowing down, and I know that to a certain degree that slowing down for you might sound as if you have to be privileged in order to get this, right? And just know that this is your breath. It's really just your birthright at the end of the day, that you get to sit down with yourself and you get to really alchemize your energy based off of what you know that you are and what you know that you deserve to experience, especially here on this physical plane. And if you want to experience something different, you have to do something different. You cannot again operate from a space of survival and expect that you're going to have emotional and spiritual and financial wealth. That is just not the way that you are going to fully materialize and consistently bring in all of those materialized experiences. So you want to get really honest with yourself in this stage. And of course, when you get to this stage where you are in complete awareness on your groundedness, then you can move on to becoming aware of the things that you perhaps were not aware of, right? And again, when you are going through your breath work, your meditations, and I'm going to share again the two really good meditations. One is specifically for breath work, and the other is for specifically for mind and heart coherence. So that is the very meditation that helped me to materialize a lot of things, like my home, my new car, my most recent materializing, which was my car. And I cannot thank the person, because actually, so funny story, when I started to listen to Brian Scott, and he actually does have a heart coherence meditation, when I started listening to him, that's when I really started to get into the awareness of knowing that, oh yeah, this is something that I am acquiring, because I am in my 4D and higher realms of thinking or being. I am this source, right? I am this endless supply and this infinite mind, right? So you want to start to tap into these energies and these consciousnesses if you want to start to experience, especially financial wealth, right? Because I talked about the 5 and 10K months consistently yesterday, and this is how you're going to be able to materialize it again on a consistent basis. So what did I want to say? I wanted to share the two meditations. I guess what I wanted to say before that, because I'm also channeling right now. So I wanted to remember what I wanted to say, just in case I'm missing anything. I don't think I am missing anything. But again, for those of you who just want to get started, who are having just, this one hurdle and you're not sure exactly where to start, how to start, if you are not fixated or, let's say, grounded in your having versus and being versus wanting and doing, this is an opportunity for you to start to shift into the version of self that is safe, that is stable, that is secure on a consistent basis, so that you can move on to other realms of awareness and consciousness. So again, like I mentioned, this is all an awareness opportunity, right? And not to say that you're doing anything wrong or right, because again, non-dualism, right? At the end of the day, you are both the wrong and right. You are the love and the hate. You are the yin and the yang. But for many of us who are going through these stages of life, are more so in the in the mental realms and in the mental plane and in the logical mind and in the very dense reality, where if you were to materialize from a place of just what you see in the 3D reality, it is not going to materialize in the way that it should, because when you materialize desire, when you become desire, when you embody desire, this is immediate. It happens immediately, right? And you should see the fruits of your labor immediately, right away. So the moment you are thinking it, the moment that you are being it and feeling it and imagining it and giving yourself those inner self dialogues and imaginations and those experiences, that's when you are experiencing it in lifetime, period. That's it. So if you are wanting this desire and then you look off into 3D, you're already sabotaging yourself. And this is why I'm doing this live, because I want you to know that first is first. Like, first step is first. It's like getting your emotional self-regulation in order. And if you want to be more guided through this process, of course, again, that's why I have the emotional self-regulation accelerator. So I think that is it. Let me just get into the links right here that I want to share. And I'll also share them in this live just so that we don't lose sight of those. So I'm going to go into my playlist and I'm going to look at... Actually, I think what I need to do is I will end this live here, of course, but I'll let you know the title of one. So it says, so this one is from Brian Scott, and his guided meditation on heart coherence is about, let me see how long it is. It is 14 minutes, literally 14 minutes. You could change your life in 14 minutes. You could change your life instantaneously. Again, if you are really wanting to do this work, if you are really wanting to sit yourself down and materialize desire instantly, this is definitely a meditation that you want to start to do, right? And I think both go hand in hand. So I'm also going to share, I actually meant to share the first one, which was the Wim Hof one. So for those of you who are not familiar with Wim Hof, let me just see if I can find it here. I haven't resurfaced it before, but let me see. Okay, so his name is not Wim Hof, it's Wim Hof. It's Wim Hof. So WIMHOF. Hi, Sharisi. How you doing? Thank you for joining. So I was just kind of ending the live, but I was talking about, for those of you who want to get safe, stable, and secure and really relax in your emotional body, your nervous system, this is the first step to getting you into emotional self-regulation. And this work is highly invaluable and is life-changing. So I'm sharing the very two meditations that are life-changing for you. If you want to get into your routine right now or on your emotional self-regulation journey, these are the very two, and I'll also link them in the live here. These are the very two meditations that are just going to change your life, especially if you build a routine around these meditations every single morning. I tend to do my meditations or do the best that I can throughout the day, because the more you touch base on your regulation and your stability and your security and just your safety and reminding yourself that you are in a safe space and out of the fight or flight, the easier you will be able to attain this awareness, right? This awareness meaning the non-dualism consciousness, which means that you are all, that you are connected to everything and all things. Therefore, when you see your desire, you're not opposing it, you're not resisting it, you just are experiencing it because you are it, right? So Wim Hof is a really good, I think he's like a monk or something like that. He's extremely effective. So I would highly recommend that you do that. Again, I'm gonna just link them in the comment section so you don't lose sight of it. But this one is 11 minutes. So the first meditation is it says method breathing. He also does like this thing of box breathing as well, and he walks you through it. So they're both guided meditations. Again, one is specifically targeting breath work. The other one is specifically targeting your heart and your heart chakras, and just really, or heart chakra specifically, and your imagination. So through your mind and heart coherence and getting, your breath work in order, you're really realigning what was in dysregulation, right? You're doing it on a both emotional and physical level. And this is what's going to really be a great combination so that you can start to move more deeper into more deeper outside of, well, just outside of your dysregulation, more deeper into your regulation. So yes, so the first one again is guided Wim Hof method breathing. So that's the one. And then the other one is the Brian Scott guided meditation, galactic heart coherence. So I'll be linking those in the comment section. So I think this is mainly what I wanted to share, because I was just sort of channeling this live. If you had any questions for me related to your desire, related to your emotional self-regulation, related to non-dualism consciousness, my DMs are always open. I love speaking with you ladies, and just anyone who wants to shift into this higher form of consciousness. I'm just really proud and sort of impressed, but not really impressed, because I know that this is eventually what a lot of us will start to be more awake and aware of. But this is definitely something that you can again do and start immediately, so that you can start to shift into the version of self that is just is really. So thank you so much, Reese. Yeah, I cannot wait. Honestly, like, this stuff is really exciting. I just cannot hold back on the things that have really transformed my life, and it really deepens like the love that I have for myself while I'm sharing with you all, because it's the thing that again is so life-changing, that if I could give back in any sort of way, that this is the way that I would give back, right? And again, for those of you who are interested in just learning more, my DMs are always open. So is the heart chakra inside your heart, of course. So it's actually like the astrological spiritual version of your physical heart. So when I get into the energetics and the metaphysical aspect of like your bodies and stuff like that, like there is a spiritual aspect of you, and it's easier to explain versus in spiritual energetic form versus in physical form. But ideally, if you were to sort of wrap your mind around the fact that everything is energy, and most of what you see is an illusion anyway, and I don't want to get too deep, but like most of what you physically see is an illusion anyway. But once you know that there is a spiritual aspect to every aspect of your body, there's a spiritual aspect to your physical eyes, there's a spiritual aspect to your heart, there's a spiritual aspect to every single organ in your body, including your skin, because your skin is, of course, your biggest organ. There is an astrological like energetic version, spiritual version of that thing. That's typically how things materialize anyways, right? Is that it starts off in non-physical. And I want to use birth because I'm still channeling, but I want to use birth as an example, right? And this is what I explained to my 7-year-old daughter, so you'll be able to understand this. So, and this is a story. So my daughter, she was telling me that she was scared of the dark. And I was like, does that mean that you're scared of yourself? And she's like, what do you mean, Mom? And so we were talking about this whole, her being afraid of the dark and her coming from pure darkness, because when she was in mommy's belly, her eyes were closed and she wasn't able to, maybe she was able to see just a little light, but most of the time she did not see a thing, right? And it's funny how I explained this to her, and she started to make the connection of like, wow, like this is really me. So like for those of you who remember, even for you, like you don't necessarily have to have a child to have this experience, but like if you ever remember being afraid of the dark, and right now like I am more trusting of, again, the unseen, and this is why I'm even more, even though I did have a fear of being in the dark, I'm even more comfortable in the dark now than I was before. It's because I have been expanding my awareness around knowing that there is so much more to experience in the unseen versus the actual seen, right? And so when I explained it to her, I was like, you come from complete darkness, and you were never scared, right? You were never worried about any monsters underneath your bed or anybody coming toward you. You just were, right? And that's how all of us can sort of relate to this unseen aspect of ourselves, because in the physical reality, this is what we are actually seeing. So when we are seeing someone who is carrying that baby, that, you know, that fetus is growing in the unseen. Like, we don't, of course we do the ultrasounds and, you know, the x-rays and stuff like that, but we don't actually see like physically see how this baby is being developed, right? And so there is just, again, like, there's just so much more that cannot meet the eye, unfortunately, the physical eye, that is existing. And we know that exists because we are, you know, these beings that create humans within our bodies, and we actually don't, like, it's a phenomenon, right? Like, we don't have the answers to how this is actually materializing and how this happens, but lo and behold, like, you know, the world is filled with humans. Like, the world is filled with us, right? And it's just, yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too deep, but just know that if you are here, that you also came through this birth canal, that you also were, you know, formalized first in non-physical form, and therefore, you know, when you come through the birth canal, you know, then you were physical, right? So I think when you wrap your mind around it, it could be against, again, your belief system. And I do not mean to, you know, contradict it, but at the same time, there's only, again, so much that belief systems can offer up to you in terms of consciousness and awareness, right? But if you were to adopt, sort of, again, like what I mentioned earlier, your new self realization and your new self-actualization, you can start to adopt awarenesses that are, again, beyond the physical form, and then you will be able to like cultivate so much more and materialize so much more on a consistent basis, because you're becoming that thing that you, like, you're just coming back to what you know that you are. That's really what it is. And you're becoming more and more consciously aware of the very thing that you are. That's really what it is, right? And if you believe in this human world, this consciousness, that we have this, you know, collective consciousness, that we are one, like, there's absolutely nothing else that could top that, in my opinion, right? And of course, you know, there are higher realms above the human collective and the human consciousness realm, but at the same time, you want to start somewhere, right? You don't want to overwhelm yourself. So I would say to take this in bite sizes. This is why I'm sharing this information in really small bite sizes. Like, you know, just work on your breath work, work on your meditations, work on your heart coherence, and that's really what's going to open you up. And it's going to be the safest, most effective way to relax your subconscious mind and your nervous system and your emotional body. And you could do that within minutes, again, right? So I'm making this really attainable for you. And it's just as simple as listening and really closing your eyes and going there without any limitation. So and then, you know, by the end of this very phase, because tomorrow we're actually going to be talking about just awareness and the things that you are perhaps not aware of or are aware of, and then expanding your awareness in that sense. But you cannot expand your awareness beyond your limitation. So this is why I spoke about, you know, just your breath work, releasing through a series of breath work. You do want to release both your limitation, your false belief, and your resistance. So resistance is also a form of limitation, because your subconscious mind, again, is like, your emotional body is not evolved enough or expansive enough to hold the very thing that you want to experience. So just think of it as a container issue, right? A container capacity issue. And through a series of breath work and really alchemizing, again, your energies, releasing those denser forms, it's going to allow you to open up your space a little bit more so that you could hold more on a consistent basis. I hope that makes sense. So let me know if you have any questions, because I do like that you had a really good question for me. Yes. So let me see. Yeah, I think that was mainly what I wanted to share. This was really good. I feel like my lives, the ones that I do that are just purely channeling, they're the best. They are the best lives because it is good to have my notes, but it's even better to channel what it is that I need to speak out loud. And I feel like as I'm channeling, it really just covers all bases of potential questioning or potential confusion. But if you do have any questions, I would love to continue to answer them. Such wisdom you're sharing. Thank you and much love. Thank you so much, Ashley. Cannot wait to do some collabs with you. Yeah, so if there are no questions, I will come back to link those two links into the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, I will have those in the description box for you. And I cannot wait to see you tomorrow, where we will be talking about awareness only. And then, of course, the last day, we'll be talking about non-dualism consciousness and just sort of like just sort of covering all bases and summing it all into being aware of non-dualism consciousness and knowing that you are non-dualism consciousness. So you are not separate from anything, that you are all things. And of course, again, this is a way of re-actualizing. So when you are actually going through your breath work, and I know that I'm rambling at this point, but you are also shifting your identity, like you are shifting your DNA. Just because you are not seeing this happening in your subconscious mind, just know that while you are going through these shifts, that you're creating new neurological pathways in your subconscious mind. You are creating new new, let's say, nerves that are finding their way to connecting. And the more, again, that you touch, and this is why I was saying, if you do this in the morning time, in the afternoon, ideally, like during your lunch hour or, during your break, and then right before bed, these are the times where you want to be more receptive again of what it is that you want to receive, right? So you start here, right? You start at stability, safety, security, and then you move on to recognizing that you are much bigger than what you thought you were. And of course, you are not only doing that in your mind, you're creating new neurological pathways, but you're also shifting your identity at once, right? So you're shifting your self-concept, your identity, how you just recognize, and how you, let's say, again, actualize. Like, I can't really think of any other words that better describe this. And you will start to experience yourself in a different way. So that's how you know for sure that you are shifting, is that you're experiencing self in a different way. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm leaving for now, and I will join you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be talking more about awareness. But I believe that a lot of us need to start here, and here is the solution. So if you want to even save this live and listen to it later on, I welcome you to do that. Listen to this live for as long as you need in order to really allow this knowledge to seep in. Because again, I'm channeling, and as I'm channeling, I'm relaying the message to you. But if I need to reword in any sort of way, you know that I'm here for you, okay? Rewiring the brain for a new experience. Oh, yes, exactly. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me, Cherise and Ashley, and those of you who are just joining. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So have a good day. Cheers.